Hello once again. It's middle of October. We're getting a storm coming in. First big one of the year. And this is officially the end of my dragon fruit season. Normally I don't allow the rain to come in and rain on top of my dragon fruit because of cold and wet is not very good for dragon fruit. You get the rust and things start to deteriorate, so I usually put the plastic up, but this is an early storm this season, and it's not that cold yet for the storm, so I'm going to let it come in and wash all the dragon fruit off, all the dust. And also my shade cloth is very dusty up there, so this gives me a chance to have the shade cloth get washed off before I put the plastic up. And after this storm is passed and dried out a little bit, I'm going to start putting up my plastic, so on top of the shade cloth. So anyways, so I got someone mentioned to me about why my dragon fruit trellises have all these branches sticking up, and I know it's not typical. Usually, most people have it like this, draping over the side and draping down, and makes it easier to deal with flowers and fruit, right? And when they're up here like this, you have to get up on a step ladder to pollinate. But the reason why I did that is because of sun. The sun would be blistering the plants. You could see how flat that is, and the sun beats down on it and you get a lot of sun damage. So I had some plants, most of my trellises were set up that way where they were just hanging over the trellis, and I had a lot of problem with sun damage, and to the point where it ruined almost the plant. I have to cut it all the way back and start over. And but I had some plants that were kind of wild, didn't prune, and they were kind of like this, and none of those plants had sun damage. So I thought, maybe there's something to it, like it protects it a little bit, it deflects the sun, it gives it a little bit of shade. And so that's why I've done it this year, all of them like this, and I don't have any sun damage. Now you can see where it is a little bit thin, the sun comes in and kind of gives a little bit of a faded, they turn yellow and then they go worse from that if it's continual. But I'll show you a plant where I had it was pretty much almost destroyed last year because of the sun, and I'll go show you that. So this is a bruni, and as you can see, right on top there was laying over. I didn't have all these branches sticking up, and the sun, this was laying flat, and the sun just blistered the crap out of my plants, and I thought it killed this whole plant, to tell you the truth. This was last year, and it also has a lot of damage on the other side. If I can get over there. But I cut away most of the plant, and you can see some of the damage that was on there. And so, last year I started allowing some of these branches, which I call risers, to come up, and I just kind of clip them off at about 2.5 feet, as you can see. And since then it's protected this guy and all of them so far. I'll try to get out through here, but yeah, so that's why it looks weird. I know I get some comments like, why do you do that? It's because of this. I'm not saying everybody should do this. People down in Southern California don't have the problem that I have up here in Northern California. I live in the Central Valley, so it's 100+ degrees a lot of times in the summer, and we have 15-hour days. and that equates to pretty hot, and these plants have a hard time dealing with it in full exposure. So that's why I have the shade cloth. I put that up first, and it did okay. Well, I first put up 40% and didn't allow enough sun for flowers. Then I went to this 30%, which is more like 15-20%, but it was perfect enough to give a little bit of relief and also allow light in for flowers so I could have fruit. But so anyways, then I had the problem still, you know, where all these branches down here are laying flat. You get full exposure to the sun, and having that for like 15 hours isn't very good for the plant. So I allow these branches to grow up, and it kind of deflects the light enough so it protects the plant. So that's why I do this. Now I know you're saying, well, you know, the fruit are supposed to grow on the downside, the down branches, that's where they go. Well, they grow anywhere they want. I have flower buds like at the top here, or even on the lower section. I'll have a flower bud down here. But yeah, I mean, dragon fruit are going to flower when they're ready, so, and they're going to do it where they feel like they're going to do it. So reason why I don't think people do it this way, because it's a little more of an inconvenience as far as pollinating. Because if I get something that's up on top here like this, I got a flower bud up there, I'm going to have to stand on a step ladder to pollinate it. So, and I do that, and it's okay. Is it a kind of a pain in the butt? Yeah, sure, but you know, hey, my plants are doing well, they're not all damaged from the sun, and that's why I do that. So anyways, so yeah, so after this big rainstorm comes through, I'm going to be putting up plastic, and I'm going to be protecting it for the rest of the winter. So and that's the story here. So that's why I do, you know, why these plants look like this. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example. So here's where I don't have any, what I call my risers, and I don't know if you can see that, but you know, there's some sun damage right there, and it's kind of an open spot, and that's what you get. You get the sun just blistering on that pretty much all day long, and it's a little too much for the plant. Whereas other areas where they have the risers up, they are not blistered. So that's why I do this. It's, you know, it looks weird, I know, but yeah. So here's one right here. Not much protection there, and it's pretty much kind of not looking too good there. So yeah, so that's kind of one of the main examples I have here. You know, the reason why these verticals don't get blistered is because the angle of the sun isn't really beating down straight on them, so it doesn't affect them as much. Like this guy here, you know, these are a young trellis I just started, and you can see where the sun is kind of, it's in the shadow right now, but it's kind of yellowed, spotty yellow coloring on it, and it's taking a hard time, you know, dealing with the sun. So I hope this explains why I do this. I don't mean to tell everybody that's the way to do it, because that's just the way I do it. Everybody's got their way of doing things. I'm not an expert by any means. It's just, you know, my adaptation to all this. So doesn't mean that it's for everybody. So anyways, hope you enjoy the explanation. So have a good day.